Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a bit of a process of a video because I have a lot of books. I don't know if you've noticed, I have quite a few books, but I have more books than what is here on my big shelf. I have another smaller shelf over there, and I have a pile of books that I've brought up from the basement recently, and I also have a massive, you can't even see it, a massive bin of books that also came up from the basement that I need to go through because I am moving and this is quite a few books to bring with me. So I probably likely will be bringing most of them just because I can't live without my book collection, but all of them do not need to come with me. So I want to sit, work through all the books that I have. So this is going to be an unhaul, but it's going to be a bit more casual, a bit more talking you through why I'm unhauling the books as I'm deciding. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so in this bin there are quite a few books that I know I'm unhauling. So as I pull them out, I'll probably start making piles to kind of show the separation. But first we have Secret Life of Walter Mitty by James Thurber. I'm keeping that. I did really like most of the stories in there. Matilda by Mary Shelley. I got this after I got Frankenstein because I thought it would be interesting, and I'm not sure. I'm going to put that in a maybe pile. I'm going to make it a little maybe pile. Should probably move some stuff out of the way here. Room by Emma Donoghue. I really like the movie. I don't like the book as much, but I did listen to it on audio, and the audiobook narrator I did not like. So I think I'm going to keep this one. I'm just going to hope that if I read the book physically, it's less weird, because the narrator was a child, or no, it wasn't actually a child. It was a person putting on a child's voice, and it just bothered me. It just freaked me out. So that's a no for the audiobook, but I'm gonna keep the book around. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. I probably am not gonna read this again, so donate. Brooklyn, also probably not gonna read this. I loved the movie, but I'm not really a historical fiction fan, so I'm gonna donate that. This is a hard one. This is A House is a Body by Shruti Swami. This is a translated short story collection that I did enjoy, but I don't know if I'm ever going to read it again. And that's like where I struggle with like knowing when to get rid of stuff. I am very good at getting rid of other things. Books are very, very hard for me to get rid of because I feel like even if I know I'm never going to read it again, I read it and I conquered it, so I need to like have it on my shelf. If I look at this though, it has a decent amount of 4- and 5-star stories, so I think I'm going to keep this one because I did like a lot of the stories here. The Collection by John Foyles. I heavily annotated this one, so this would either have to get tossed or kept because I can't donate or sell this. So I'm going to keep that one. My John Steinbecks, I'm probably going to keep both of them, even though I don't know where the other one is, somewhere in here. But I have not read East of Eden. I did read The Grapes of Wrath, but not that copy. My 2 works by Homer, the Odyssey and the Iliad, I'm gonna keep if I can find that. So this is a maybe. This is The Harpy by Megan Hunter. I read this and I liked it a lot. I gave it 4 stars, but I didn't like the way it ended, and I'm not sure that I'm ever gonna reread this. It's just really hard to get rid of because the cover's so pretty. So I'm going to put that in the maybe pile. Other Minds, a book about octopi, a nonfiction book. There's an audiobook of this. I probably won't physically read this, so I'm going to donate it. Women Talking by Miriam Towes. I'm probably still going to read this at some point, so I'm going to keep that. My nice copies that my best friend got me of Sally Rooney books. I'm definitely going to keep these. My copy of A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, a little bit beat up. I don't know that I'm ever going to reread this, but it feels wrong to get rid of it because, like I said, this is one that I conquered. That was quite a time to conquer, and I feel like getting rid of it would be slightly sacrilegious, so I'm going to keep it. Back to the Garden, Story of Woodstock. I I don't know if you guys know this, but I am very, very interested in Woodstock, and I just don't think I'm ever going to read this. I've had this on my shelf since I was maybe 12 and have never read it, so we're going to donate that. False Bingo by Jack Jemk. I got this book. I didn't realize it was a used book. It's not in the best condition, and I don't know that I'm ever going to read it anyway, so donating that. The other Jack Jemk book that I read is The Grip of It. This one I did annotate, and I would like to reread this at some point, so I think I'm going to keep this one. It's weird with stuff that I've annotated. It's kind of hard to get rid of because I feel, one, I feel an attachment to it, and two, you can't really donate written in books. I mean, you could put it in like a little library or something, which I might do, but you can't like sell them to a bookstore or give them to a bookstore for like for used books and then get any store credit from it, because that's what I'm going to do with a lot of these. I think I'm probably going to take it to a used bookstore and get store credit. Next up, we have the complete short stories of Ernest Hemingway. Definitely keeping this. This was a gift from my fiance. Very excited to continue reading that. Oh boy, we have Ted Bundy, Conversations with a Killer. I went through a phase where I was very interested in serial killers, and Ted Bundy particularly was interesting to me, but I don't foresee myself reading this. I probably would do more like watching stuff, like documentaries and like the Netflix special that this is actually like based on. Yeah, so I don't think I'm probably going to read this, so I'm going to donate that. The Help by Catherine Stockett. I'm not going to reread this, and if I do, I'll probably audiobook it, so getting rid of that. Wild Swims by Dorothy Noers. I tried to read this. I did not like it. Donating that. Okay, so then we have A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green. I never finished this one. I started it and then just never finished it for God knows what reason. But my fiance has a copy of, what is the first one called? An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. Yes, he has a copy of that because I sent it to him. So it's not a hardcover, which is going to piss me off that we're going to have a paperback and a hardcover of this series, duology. But I'm going to keep this because I do want to reread it at some point. Next up, we have Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi. This is not in very good condition at all. I likely am not going to keep this because I don't think I'm going to reread it. Even though I did really enjoy it, I just don't see myself rereading it. This might just have to be a little library donation because I don't think I can bring this to the used bookstore. It's pretty beat up. But donating that nonetheless. Then I have The Handmaid's Tale. I'm keeping this. This is a beautiful vintage classics copy, and I haven't read this yet. I have only watched the show, so I'm going to read that eventually. I found the Iliad, and I found East of Eden, so I'm keeping both of these. They're massive. Don't know when I'm ever going to read those, but I feel like they're important to have on the shelf. I have read the Iliad. It's just been a while. Frankenstein, my very heavily annotated copy from college, keeping that. The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. This is hard because I bought this a while ago and I was in this phase where I was really, really excited to read Greek mythology stuff, and then I heard this wasn't very good from a few people, and I probably won't read it, so I'm just going to donate that. Island's End. This was a book that my mom got. This isn't even mine, so I'm going to let her decide what she wants to do with that. What else? Alright, Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. I love the movie. I don't love the book as much. This is one of the few circumstances where I like the movie better. Probably won't reread this, so I'm just going to donate that. I have a copy of Romeo and Juliet that's like the movie cover copy from the 70s movie. Probably never gonna look at this again because I have like 2 other copies of Romeo and Juliet, so donating that. Alright, then I have Cat Person by Kristen Rapinian. This was a pretty weird one. I didn't mark up what I thought of the actual story, so I don't remember if it had a lot of 5 stars. But I don't see myself rereading this, so I'm going to donate that. Then we have Parade by Hiromi Kawakami and New Animal by Ella Baxter. This is disappointing because I really, really was excited about this book, and then I got it and I read it, and it really wasn't all that. I think I gave it like 3 stars. There was definitely some sections I thought were interesting, but I don't foresee myself rereading either one of these, so I'm going to donate them. Love by Mayan Eaton. I don't think I'm ever going to reread this. This was just a little bit too weird for me, if you can believe that. It was just a little too out there, so donating that. All right, I have 2 poetry collections. I have Bright Wings and I have Eat This Poem. Probably never going to revisit these, so donating. Someone else will hopefully enjoy them more. All right, then I have another historical fiction, The Tattooist of Auschwitz. Probably never going to read this, so I'm donating it. And then I have the Norton Anthology of Short Fiction. This was a college textbook that I had. It has a lot of good stuff. I don't know that I'm going to revisit this. Well, maybe I will. I'm going to put that in the maybe pile because I might want to revisit that eventually. My college sociology textbook. Probably just going to get rid of this. Don't know what I'd need it for, so donate. Educated by Tara Westover. Absolutely keeping this. This is a signed copy that my mom got me for Christmas like 2 years ago. And it's a little dusty, but I really, really liked this one, so I'm going to keep this one. Alright, then I have The Astrology of You and Me. I don't know that I'm really going to use this much. I have another astrology book on my other shelf that I'm probably going to keep and use more. This just talks more about like relationships with the different zodiac signs. And yeah, I don't think I'm really going to use this much, so I'm going to donate that. Alright, this is a poetry collection and drawing collection that I got used and literally never touched. I bought it like 2 years ago. So I'm going to donate that. And then I have Healing Spices, which is a book that basically talks about the healing properties of different herbs and spices. Yeah, I'm going to keep this one for future reference. Alright, then I have my Hunger Games trilogy. I'm keeping this one for sure. Then we have The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I was so excited about reading. It doesn't smell anymore, but it did smell like roses when I got it, which was a really nice touch. But I really don't see myself rereading this. It was fun in the moment, but it really wasn't all that. So I think I'm going to donate this one. And that's the end of the bin. So we can put the bin aside and start looking more at my shelves. There's probably going to be less stuff to donate on my actual shelves, but we will go through them anyway and see what we can find. Alright, on this bottom shelf we have Red Clocks by Lenny Zumas. I've had this for a while. I haven't read it, but I probably will. It's kind of a Handmaid's Tale-esque book, so I probably want to read that at some point. I just haven't had the chance. These I'm probably keeping. This is a short story collection I haven't read. Kevin Wilson's Nothing to See Here. I loved this book. And then his other book, Tunneling to the Center of the Earth, I do definitely want to read, so I'm keeping that. The Deloriad I'm keeping. Sharks in the Time of Saviors. I really, really liked this book, so I'm keeping it. Remarkably Bright Creatures, I haven't read yet, keeping. The Exhibition of Persephone Q. I did like this book. I'm going to keep this one. Another short story collection I haven't read. It seems kind of weird for me to go through all of these with you unless they're ones I'm considering. But let's see what else. I have both of my Robin Sloans. I definitely want to keep Sourdough. I'm not sure about Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore because I kind of liked this one. I just didn't love it. And I did listen to it on audio at the time. And I don't know that I will ever physically read it. So I'm going to put this in the maybe pile. My Dark Vanessa, I liked this, but I don't know that I'm ever going to reread it, and I did end up audiobooking a decent amount of it, so maybe pile. I have my Ian Reads, which I'm definitely keeping, obviously. Kylie Reads Such a Fun Age. Gonna keep this one. I really liked it. Would like to reread it at some point. Both of my Chris Powers. I have not ventured to read A Lonely Man yet. I am going to read it at some point, so I'm going to keep that. My Sylvia Plath books. Obviously, Secret Life of Church Ladies is staying around. A lot of these are ones I haven't read, so I'm keeping them. My Flannery O'Connor books, I haven't read Wise Blood yet. I have not read all of her short stories, but I'm definitely going to read these at some point, so I'm keeping them. True Biz, I absolutely loved, so I'm keeping that. And then we have Acts of Desperation, which I'm not sure about. There were quotes that I liked and that I highlighted, but I don't really see myself reading this again, and I did struggle to finish this, so I'm going to put that in the maybe pile. Moving on to the second shelf, let me just take my little trinkets off the shelf. I don't know why everything's so dusty. I literally just dusted this the other day. Apparently not well enough. Okay, we have Ghost Wall by Sarah Moss. I've heard polarizing things about this, but I haven't read it yet, so I'd like to give it my own, make my own opinion about this. So I'm going to keep that. All of my Otessa Mosh Fegs I'm going to keep because I like them a lot. Milk, Blood, Heat, I haven't read yet. I'm going to keep that. Circe, I'm going to keep it. I haven't read it yet, even though I'm not sure when I'm going to actually get to this. I loved The Song of Achilles, and I'm keeping that, so I might also love Circe. Rag, this is a short story collection that I found at a used bookstore. It's in great condition. I still think I'm going to be interested in this whenever I decide to pick it up, so I'm keeping that. Her Body and Other Parties, of course, I'm keeping that. We love her. This is a book that I just got recently, so very interested in that still. Pew by Catherine Lacey. I really, really liked this book. We'll absolutely reread it and annotate it eventually. Sita's Kitchen. Have not read this one, so I'm going to keep it. I haven't read that yet, so I'm keeping it. I'm not sure about this one. I do really like this cover, and it is a cute book. This is Come Raid or Come Shine, which is a short story by Kazu Ishiguro. I don't know that I'm going to ever reread this, and it seems kind of silly to keep it if I'm never going to look at it again. So, maybe pile. Then I have Never Let Me Go and Clara and the Sun, both also by Ishiguro. I'm definitely keeping Clara and the Sun. I don't know about Never Let Me Go. I liked it, but I didn't love it. I feel bad getting rid of it because I did special order this for this particular copy for this cover. But I don't know. It feels sacrilegious to get rid of it. I'm not ready to do that yet, so we're going to keep it. Then I have my Colleen Hoover books. I haven't read Layla yet, so I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about this. This might be a donate after I read it if I don't like it kind of thing, but I'm still interested in it. All of my Talia Hibbert, the Brown Sisters trilogy, I'm keeping these because I liked Chloe Brown and I want to continue reading them. Transcendent Kingdom, this was the one and only Book of the Month book that I ever got. I still am interested in reading it, so I think I'm going to keep it. You'll Never Catch Me Getting Rid of Hysteria by Jessica Gross. It's a favorite. I feel like I'm turning away from you. I gotta figure out how to sit here. Florida by Lauren Groff, another short story collection that I have not read but still want to read. And I think the rest of them I am planning on keeping. So that's that shelf. Okay, moving on to this shelf. You can still see, so I'm not going to move the camera quite yet. I don't think there's any that I'm getting rid of here. These are all my Mary Gateskill, which I still want to keep around. Though I don't know if I'm ever going to read because they wanted to. It's another short story collection by her. I might read it, so I'm going to keep it. History of Wolves. I tried to read this one. Yeah, I tried to read this one and I was not in love with it whatsoever. I'm going to put this in the maybe pile. My copy of Sharp Objects, definitely keeping. I haven't read They Never Learned by Lane Fargo yet, but I'm going to read it, so I'm going to keep that. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. I just finished this recently. I'm going to keep that one. The Virgin Suicides. Not sure how I feel about this one. I haven't read it yet. It sounds like something that I might like, but I'm not entirely sure. But I haven't read it yet, so I'm going to keep it. Boy Parts. Absolutely keeping this. One of my favorites. I haven't yet conquered Ducks Newburyport, even though it was on my list of stuff to conquer in the past year or the past 2 years, and I never read it. So it's going back on there just to remind me of my shame and my fear of big books. I think I'm going to get rid of Trust Exercise by Susan Choi, just because I got this on sale and It was a book that I'd heard negative things about from multiple people, but I still was kind of interested in it. But I have the audiobook for this, and I don't think that I'm going to read it physically. If I do read it, I'm probably going to audiobook it. So I'm going to donate that. I'm currently actually reading Days of Distraction, so I'm not going to get rid of this because so far, I love this so far. I can't wait to review this for you guys. School for Good Mothers, haven't read that yet. Creature by Amina Kane. I haven't read this yet, but I did really like Amina Kane's other book, so I'm going to keep that. This one I'm not sure of. This is Belly Up. There's only like 1 or 2 stories in here that I genuinely liked. I gave one of them 4 stars, one of them 5 stars, another one 4 stars. But out of all of them, there's only a few. There's a lot of 1 stars and 2 stars. So I'm actually going to get rid of this, even though I love this cover. But I don't foresee myself ever looking at it again. So I'm getting rid of that. My Sister the Serial Killer. I just recently got this. So I don't think it's smart to get rid of it, even though I started reading it and I really, really did not like it. I'm going to put this in the maybe pile. I feel really, really bad getting rid of books that I just got, but if I started them and didn't like them, it's kind of hard to like justify keeping them because I don't know that I'm ever going to read them. All right, the next one I'm not sure about is Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead. I was so hyped about this and I read it on audio and it was just okay, so I don't know. Maybe pile. I have a bigger maybe pile than I think is probably good, but it's fine. It's fine. We're making progress. I need more coffee. I think everything else over here I'm going to keep. Though I'm not sure about this one. This is The Thing Around Your Neck by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This is a short story collection. I liked some of these. I can see myself revisiting this. I'm going to keep this one. And that is everything on that shelf. Okay, we moved up so you can see these shelves. The top shelf, I don't think I'm getting rid of anything because these are all of my Shakespeare collection books. And I'm probably going to keep all of them because I've been building this collection, so why would I just toss the collection? But this is my translated literature shelf, and I have the hardest time getting rid of stuff off of here because I love translated lit, and when I find it and buy it, I feel very attached to it because I love it so much. But there are definitely books in here that I read that I don't necessarily want to keep. So we're going to move this. So the first one is Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. A lot of people love this book. I didn't personally love it. I thought it was a little weird. I understand what Murata was going for. I get it. I think it was an important read in a lot of ways. I just didn't love it, so I'm going to donate it. There really isn't a ton else on this shelf. The Guest Cat, I think I'm going to keep just because I haven't read it yet, and it might be fun still. Almond by Won Pyun-son, I just recently read and really liked. The Vegetarian, Kim Ji-young, born 1982. I have not read the whole yet, so I'm going to keep this because I definitely want to read that. Okay, this is one I'm not sure about. This is Apple and Knife by Inten Paramaditha. I just want to see what I rated these stories and if I rated them. So there's 3 5 stars and 2 4 stars out of all of the stories. I'm not sure that I'm ever going to revisit this. I think I'm going to donate this one. Alright, this one I'm not sure about. This is Armada, and I've had this on my shelf for a while. It's a Brazilian book. It's translated. I don't know if I'm ever going to read this one. This seems pretty odd, and I've had it on my shelf for so long. I'm going to put it in the maybe pile. Then we have, okay, this one I think I'm going to get rid of. This is The Collection by Nina Ledger. I liked it. I thought it was interesting. I wrote an interesting review on it. Don't see myself rereading this. It's pretty weird and out there, so I'm going to donate it. And I think the rest of them I'm keeping. So that's it for the main shelf. Let's go over to the little shelf and see if I can get rid of anything over there. Okay, welcome to this other corner of my room. So you can't entirely see, but I do have like stacks of books over here. There's one of them. There's another one over here as well. Let's see if I can lift it up for you. Big stack. So these are all of my children's books. I'm not going to get rid of any of them because my mom and I already did a lot of sorting with the children's books. And those are the ones that I'm still planning on keeping. Over here I have some cookbooks. These are coming with me. These are all gluten-free baking books that I'm going to need in Kansas. So I'm taking those, keeping those. These are all, like I said, they're children's books. I'll just show you, I guess, what they are. Please don't mind the mowing sounds in the background. My mom is, in fact, mowing right now, so just ignore that. We have Frindle by Andrew Clements. I'm keeping that. Goat Parade. This was a childhood favorite of mine that my mom read to me. Tale of Despereaux and Edward Tulane. Strawberry Girl, I'm keeping. Rules. This was one of my favorites. Holes. I think a lot of us have either read this or seen the movie at some point. Then I have my Arnold Lobel, all of my Frog and Toad books, which were favorites. I have a couple of Dr. Seuss's. I have Amelia Bedelia. I have Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Sylvester and the Magic Pebble. I have If You Give a Pig a Pancake. That's that stack. Oh, these were some of my favorites. These are more middle grade. I have Savvy by Ingrid Law. I love this book. And then I have my like doll people books that were some of my favorites by Anne M. Martin. Some more children's books. Yeah, I don't need to go through all of these with you. A lot of them are picture books. A lot of them are middle grade. But I'm keeping all of them because they are very special to me, and I don't want to like completely get rid of all of my children's literature, because children's literature is very, very important to me, and I want to have kids, so in the future my kids will hopefully read these books, and they're also just fun to come back to. So those are books that I am keeping. Let's look at the shelf and see if there's anything I can get rid of. So on this top shelf is my Shirley Jackson collection. You can't super see, but I'm keeping all of that because that is, again, another collection that I've been building. So I'm keeping all of those. This right here is my Wings of Fire collection. So again, keeping all of those. I don't think there's a ton to unhaul from this section, to be honest, because I have some more graphic novels, I have blankets, and I have Heartstopper. All of those I'm keeping. This really beautiful copy of Little Women I'm keeping. My copy of Bibliophile. I love this. I'm going to display this. I'm keeping that. A copy of my book that I wrote. The Graceling trilogy. I don't know if I'm really going to ever come back to these. I was going to have my brother read them, but he was not interested. It's a maybe. I might just keep the first one, possibly. I'm not sure. I'm going to put those in the maybe pile. Alright, then I have more children's and YA, and then poetry, and then essay collections. So let's look. I have the Phantom Tollbooth and Wish Tree. I'm keeping these. Artemis Fowl. This is kind of Sean's book, so obviously I'm going to keep that. Surviving the Applewhites. Absolutely keeping that. Turtles All the Way Down. This is a signed edition, so I feel bad parting with it, but I don't think I'm ever going to come back to it, so I think I'm going to donate that. These are all of my Shel Silverstein books, and then my Gravity Falls books, so I'm keeping all of those, which means I can restack these. Okay, moving on to this section, we have my copies of The Fault in Our Stars, which I'm obviously keeping. I have all of my Elizabeth Acevedo books, which I'm keeping. These are really funny. These are the Milk and Vine books. I realize that there's kind of a big controversy around these because the authors of these books are just two kids who compiled them and did not give any credit to the actual Viners who created the content. But nonetheless, they're still really funny, and I'm keeping them. Alright, then I have some like Instagram poetry type of stuff. I have To Drink Coffee with a Ghost. I don't know that I'm ever going to revisit this. It's very much like stereotypical Instagram poetry. It's a very pretty book, but the contents are not really worth rereading. So I think I'm going to donate that. And then I have my Ruby Core stuff. So I have Milk and Honey and this really, really pretty copy of The Sun and Her Flowers. I think I'm going to get rid of Milk and Honey and just keep this really beautiful copy of The Sun and Her Flowers because I really don't want to get rid of this copy. It was a nice gift from my mom, and it's really pretty. So I'm going to keep that. I think I'm going to donate Milk and Honey, though. Margaret Atwood's Dearly, I'm keeping that. All of my Mary Oliver. I really did like this poetry collection, Serious Concerns by Wendy Cope, so I'm going to keep that one. Some more poetry collections I'm keeping. I'm keeping John Green's The Anthropocene Reviewed. This is a signed edition, and I really liked it. And then I have Create Dangerously, The Power and Responsibility of the Artist. When I bought this, I didn't realize that it was a older book, and I started reading this, and even though it's just a short essay, I struggled to get through it. So I'm going to donate that. And that's this shelf. And if we come down here to the bottom shelf, it might be a little hard to see, so I will just hold stuff up to you. But I'm keeping most of these. This is like memoirs and stuff, so I have Sex Object, which is a favorite, which I'm keeping. I'm not sure about this one. This is The Sound of a Wild Snail Eating. I liked it. I didn't love it. Yeah, I don't know that I'm ever going to reread this, and my mom, I think, already read it, so I think I'm going to donate this one. You'll never catch me getting rid of Crying in H Marks. This one, I'm not sure. This is Somebody's Daughter by Ashley C. Ford. I really liked this, but I did end up audiobooking it, and I don't really foresee myself looking at it again, so I think I'm going to donate this one. I think I'm keeping all of my other memoirs. I have some more nonfiction about, like, death, which I'm going to be keeping. Cultish, definitely keeping that. Girls and Sex, I did like this. I'm unsure if I'm going to revisit it, though. And honestly, I did end up audiobooking this, so will I ever look at this again? I don't think so, so I'm going to donate this. All right, then I have some more like anthology type stuff about literature. I have Monster, She Wrote, which is about like science fiction, horror, women in horror, all of that. Definitely keeping this one. I have Literary Witches, which I really, really liked, so I'm keeping that. Creating Flannery O'Connor, I was going to use this for a paper. I think I did end up using parts of it, but I didn't read the whole thing, so I do see myself looking at this more, so I am going to keep this one. Romantic Outlaws. The likelihood that I'm going to read this is slim. This is a book about Mary Wollstonecraft and Mary Shelley, and it is a giant nonfiction. And I just feel like I am unlikely to read this, so donating. Entangled Life. This is a book about mushrooms. Very big nonfiction, but I do actually see myself reading this, so I'm going to keep that. A book about running coffee shops. Definitely keeping. This is a cool book. This is called The Flavor Thesaurus. I'm definitely keeping this, but this is basically a wheel of flavors in the front right here, and it talks about combinations of food and what flavors go best together, and I think this is an awesome resource, so I'm keeping this. And the rest of everything I'm also keeping, so that's actually a pretty decent clear out of some of this stuff. I think I've decided that with the Graceling trilogy, I think I'm going to get rid of the second two and keep the first one, because I did really like the first one. So I'm going to keep Graceling. And that is, believe it or not, all of my books. We have made significant progress getting rid of books, so that's exciting. All right, let's come back to the maybe pile real quick, and let's talk about those. Yeah, I don't really see myself rereading this one as much as I wanted to like it. The reality is I didn't love it, so I'm going to unhaul that. Armada, I'm not sure about. I feel like I still might read this, so I think I'm going to keep Armada. These two are books that I tried to read and didn't enjoy when I started them. So I think I'm going to just get rid of them, honestly. I don't see myself coming back to them. So that's that. This one, I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep this one. Acts of Desperation, I'm going to get rid of. I do have to take tabs out of this, so I'm going to put it aside. But I am going to get rid of it. All right, I'm going to unhaul My Dark Vanessa as well as Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore. I don't see myself coming back to physical copies of either of those. I think I'm going to keep the Norton Anthology of Short Fiction just because there's a lot of good stuff in here and I can see myself using it at some point, so I think I'm going to keep that. I really don't know that I'm going to ever read Matilda, and if I do, I think it's going to be quite an undertaking, so I think I'm going to unhaul that. And the Harpy, I still struggle to get rid of. So I think I'm going to hold on to this. I'm going to try to read it one more time. And if I still don't like the ending and I still find it overall just not it, I'm going to get rid of it. So that is all of the maybes. So this is the unhaul situation. Lots and lots of books. So that is the unhaul. I hope this video was at least a little bit interesting. I still have a metric shit ton of books to pack up and bring with me to Kansas, but I do have slightly less to take with me. So the point of this was not to like get rid of all the books that I own or be a minimalist book-wise in any way. it was sort of just to kind of get rid of the stuff that I really don't see myself reading or rereading ever. And I think I accomplished that much. So yeah, I'm never going to be able to part with a lot of my books, but that's okay because I'm much better at getting rid of stuff from other aspects of my life, if that makes sense. Like I'm much more keen on getting rid of books and random memorabilia and random stuff that I've gotten places. Like, I'm fine with getting rid of a lot of stuff. I just recently threw out giant bags of stuff, several giant bags, and I've donated a bunch of clothes. So I feel okay about keeping my books, at least most of them. I'm very tired now, so I'm going to get going. But if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!